Bitch, are you jealous?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Bitch, are you jealous?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Are you jealous?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You know what it is. I think you know what it is. Do you know what it is? If you don't know what it is, my name is I Make Mad Beats. Welcome to another episode of Type Beat. We are here live at Outer Space, an unapologetic studio. And behind me is my cast, and I'm not going to click on nothing. I'm going to just do this. Go ahead.
What up? LJ1S.
Unique shit.
Shit. C major.
Kid Maestro.
Yeah. Trying to make sure the thirst trap niggas got what they need. You know what I'm saying? All right, fam. Relax. Relax. All right. We here to talk about the stuff we be talking about. What are our topics, my G?
Man, you know, I'm a sports guy. Fucks with football. So it's draft season. So we're talking about, you know, if you were starting a label, what would be your drafts? Your duo with artists? How that like? You got an artist, producer. We'll get into that. I'll figure out a whole list. I'm gonna wait till we start actually talking about it. That's on me. Subscriptions, you know, that's the thing now in this time. So what platform for plugins and VSTs that you wish had a subscription-based model? And dang, I had so many. What was the other joint? 1 second, my bad.
Oh,
We talk about what's more
Mixer
important than
Yes.
the arrangement.
Thank you. I appreciate that assistance. Yeah, so which one is more important? The mix or the arrangement? I guess we could just start there. Nah, I feel like starting with the football shit. So yeah, your best duo.
Hold on really quick before we hop into that. Let's talk about what it is and what it ain't, man. So, as always, if this is your first time chiming in, let y'all know how this goes. We encourage any and all engagement, even if it's smoke. You know, feel free to engage, drop comments, tap in with us. We will stop talking. We will shut up to make sure that we engage with what you say and how you can contribute to the conversation. So please, do not hesitate to drop us a comment and let us know what you think. All right. We talking about some football stuff? That means
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
You know, it's draft season. When you starting a franchise, or whatever, it's in football terms, you're looking for a lot of times the best duo, the best package, whether it's a receiver, quarterback situation, D tackle, linebacker situation. But in this case, we're building a label. So I just want to know, you know, how would y'all start it off? We got a songwriter and producer, an artist and a producer, an artist and a songwriter, engineer and a producer, manager and an artist, or artist and an engineer.
What's the starting two?
You know what? Hold on a second, bro. Now go ahead. Y'all continue this discussion.
I think the
got it.
best person to answer that would be Mad.
I mean, that means that's probably answer less. But go ahead. Y'all got it. You know what I'm saying?
If you
Yeah, I feel like I really gotta sit down and consider
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta have an artist. Like, what were the?
So you got the artist and the engineer, a manager and an artist, engineer and a producer, artist and a songwriter, artist and a producer, songwriter and a producer.
You know it. I guess it depends on what type of label
Yeah.
you're doing. you don't necessarily have to have an artist, or any one of these can be the artist. But for me, if I'm starting a label and it's my vision of the label, I'm gonna probably go producer and songwriter, and my label would probably just pitch songs, and we would work for artists, kind of deal.
Hey, really quick, LJ.
Yeah.
Give me those matchups again.
So we have the songwriter and producer.
Hold on. Songwriter, ex-producer. Okay, go ahead.
Artist and the producer.
Artist, ex-producer. Yep.
Artist and songwriter.
Artist, ex-songwriter.
Engineer, producer. Manager and artist.
Oh, sorry. Engineer, ex-producer.
Manager and artist.
Manager, ex-artist. Yep.
And artist and engineer.
Artist, ex-engineer. All right.
I would say if I were starting a label, I would definitely go with producer and engineer because you can always go out and find artists to, you know, match your sound or what you're looking for, and it does depend on what kind of label you're looking for.
Hold on, you said producer and engineer? Dang, I like that one. Nah, I think I'm sticking.
But yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like y'all's story. Like you were the producer / engineer, like, but y'all were still artists though at the same time, you know. So it's still a form of artistry. But y'all, as producers and engineers in y'all's own lane, went out and found other artists to match your style.
Engineer's so important too. Can my
Very
producer
important.
be an engineer? No.
Yeah.
Nah, in this case. No. That's why for me,
I
I
gotta
was.
rethink this whole shit.
They play one
Engineer
job.
is so important, bro.
They play one
Very
job. They play
important.
one job and one
Very
job only.
But I guess I could pay. Can I?
Yeah, I mean, you want to label, but these are the two that you start
that's what I'm
off
starting
with.
with. Yeah, I'm rocking with mine.
Nah, for me, I think it definitely would have been like engineer and producer. That's what I was thinking because I feel like engineer and producer, like outside of the job itself, part of the job is to find artists. I mean, that's what they do. Like,
One more question. Do I just have no talent? Am I just? I'm
you
not.
started
I'm not
like,
me.
nah,
Your talent is it.
I'm just.
Yeah, you just,
okay.
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
you just got the
Okay.
bread. You,
Investor.
All right. Okay. I just gotta make sure because.
Oh, you just an investor?
Yeah.
you just this
Oh,
your
let's
label.
get all this right.
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah.
You're not playing. So you're not a producer. You're not anything. You're just
I'm
the
just-
label. You're.
okay.
And
I'm
these
still
are who you
sticking with
pick.
my answer.
So you're the GM.
Hold on, time out. Okay, hold on. Just so that I'm clear. So this whole discussion already starts with you as the business executive. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, you're the GM.
So let's just say, just as an example, let's just say, what's my guy from Interscope Records? Jimmy Iovine.
Jimmy, yeah.
So let's just say Jimmy Iovine wants to start a record label. Is that what we're looking at? And we are Jimmy Iovine?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different conversation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, again, that's why I was taking leaning towards the engineer producer because when it comes to artists, like we can. That's part of their job. Also, need to make sure these beats sound right. I need to make sure when we do find the artist, you know, the engineer's there to make sure we good. Because again, they only playing one job. They're not, you know, they're not like us or most niggas doing producer engineer situations.
Man, I feel like, and I don't even think I like that I'm saying this, but I probably would go artist and
Engineer, bro. I think I might be switching up too. I do. I done switched
I'm
like
not
60
switching my
times.
answer.
Artist and engineer.
But that's a dangerous.
Because and I think it's, you know, I think that's also if you want to, if the label isn't if the brand of the label isn't as important as the brand of the artist, right? If you make it super artist centric, meaning like this kind of different than unapologetic, where unapologetic is an idea, not a means to put out just music. You know what I mean? And so I would probably go artist and engineer because I think that would allow for the most prolific output. You know what I'm saying? And getting production can come at various levels. Like you can get people on the ground, you can get people, you know, above, but you got an artist. To me, is somebody who wants to be an artist already has the mindset of like, or they should have the mindset of like making content, being out in front, being a spokesperson for themselves and their ideas, and will just probably have a better handling on branding just from the jump. And so I think that's super important. And then you have somebody who is basically a studio rat who's dedicated to making them sound as good as possible. I feel like starting off, that's probably the best jump. Before you added that option though, I was thinking artist manager.
I still stick with engineer and producer. What do you say, Matt?
Okay, so it was extremely important that that we clarify that our role will be Jimmy Iovine, right? Because then that changes. To me, that throws manager out the window, right? Because it's an upstart label. If there is a Jimmy Iovine, or if there is somebody already in a kind of executive role, you're fine. You don't need a manager, right? At least for now, right? Man, if I'm starting a label, I mean, I gotta go engineer producer. I gotta go engineer producer because, well, first of all, there's just so many examples of that, right? Like that is a working model. That's not. I'm not. Wow, this is crazy how he thinks. No, we've seen this work a lot of times, right? But then secondarily, like, I think that the sound of a label, right, and the consistency of that sound, the height of, the quality of that sound, and a producer's ability, right? So let's just talk about what a producer is, right? A part of a producer's role is finding, curating talent, right? And so if I get the right producer, that right producer comes with artists, right? Eventually, especially if that sound is crafted correctly. And I just look at it the same way I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like I attracted people. I'm a producer, right? I attracted people. With the exception of Pro. All of y'all found me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just because of what I was doing as a producer and an engineer. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore I attracted the necessary talent. And so, and then, outside of all of that, and however smart that sounds, it's just a working model. It works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I was also thinking on the fact that, like, I know in most situations, not all, but artists, I haven't seen a lot of situations where artists went searching for their producer. A lot of times they meet or come across them, either they heard something or the producer hit them up or they were introduced to them on some, yo, this is such and such. It's rare that I find artists that be like, yo, I'm like searching for this producer, this type of engineer, or more. And a lot of times, depending on how deep they are as the artist, they don't necessarily know their sound.
I can beg to differ.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I knew what kind of producer I was looking for. I just didn't know where to find him. And like niggas like you did. And I got surrounded by the right niggas, and I went and found the producer that I needed. So that's a very true statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it can be done almost any one of these ways. I mean, you look at Jimmy Jam and them, that was songwriter producer, you know what I'm saying? If Monty Booker and Smino started a label, it would pop. That's artist producer, you know what I'm saying? Artist and songwriter, like I think that's probably
low-key slept on.
Yeah, I think that is. I think while I do think all of these work. I think that's the one that's probably the least likely to be implemented.
Yeah. That's R&B though.
Yeah,
like I can definitely.
absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Engineer, producer is obvious. Manager and artist is that's Biggie and Puffy. You know what I'm saying? Like artist and engineer.
Drake 40.
Yeah, Drake and 40. You know what I'm saying? So. all of these. It just depends on. Honestly, I think I don't know which one of y'all said it, but it really depends on like what is the goal of the label, right? When I started Unapologetic, I knew that I was creating something producer led. Like I knew, because I do feel like when I look at like what are the most important roles in pumping out music, to me, there's no more important role than the producer, right? And I do mean that's more important than the engineer. I think that's more important than the vocalist, right? In terms of getting out a lot of music, it's the guy in the middle, because the producer is responsible from the beginning to the end of a song's creation, right? There's no one more responsible for a song than the producer, and so to base it around producers, and then multiple producers was my strategy when starting Unapologetic. Because I knew that no matter, as long as we had multiple producers, we had the capacity to compete.
Yeah. Then everyone has a different sound. It allows you to pitch to different crowds and
Yeah.
That was my thought process. I mean, makes sense. Like I said, it works.
Yeah, it works
It's
either
been
way.
proven.
That's a tough one, like to figure out what to start with, though, and that's such an important thing.
I think the trickiest one is I think most people would think artist producer, artist songwriter, artist blah, blah, blah. That can definitely work, but it's tricky because you don't want your label to be so linked to one
the
artist.
artist.
Right. You don't want it to be so defined
Yeah.
by one artist if you're trying to start a label. Really trying to, not just an imprint to drop your artist album.
Right.
But you're really
A
trying to start a
real
label.
label.
You're really trying to build something that lasts 20 or 30 years.
Right.
And have it well rounded. That's tough to just immediately put all of the ambassadorship and what it means into one artist. That's a tricky thing to navigate.
Yeah, I guess that's Rockefeller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It absolutely
Yeah.
is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they had their thing, but I mean Jay was just Jay, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
real.
Like,
That's real.
shout out to Ye, and all that stuff. But when you think of Rockefeller, you think of Jay-Z. And that never changed, in the entire
Facts.
existence of Rockefeller.
Facts.
That's a fact though. Yeah, they had some amazing producers
Yep.
for sure. But Jay was still Rockefeller.
Even when you think about the producers, you think about Jay.
Yeah, because he was the one. Yeah, like
Literally.
Ninth Wonder. Like he was the guy.
Do y'all think anybody on Rockefeller was a better rapper than Jay?
That's a,
I believe they had better rappers, but Jay had the most
Hey,
Let
motion.
me see.
Beans. I was finna say Beans.
Beans
was-
went in.
People love to say Beans. I don't know about
I wouldn't say he was a better rapper, but he was definitely tough.
Crazy, but
He was definitely
but better
tough.
than Jay, that's a wild. to me,
Nah, I
feel
definitely
like
wouldn't
people
say
just
that.
looking for somebody that. Plus, that's a Nas diss. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, like, I feel like that's dick
I
riding
feel like
shit,
people
kind of.
was just trying to find somebody, but nah.
Yeah, like Jay was that guy. Jay was that face. Like Jay put himself out there. That's why he is the face. He made himself Rockefeller.
Well, he was,
Jay
he was
was
a
more
better
than-
artist. He was a better,
Yeah.
not person.
He was
He was
He was
marketable.
a business.
He
He
was
was a
very
business.
marketable.
He's like, I'm a businessman. Like,
very
that's
much
real.
so.
He's
Very
the
much
one.
so.
He thought like he was the label, and he moved that way.
And he
everyone
became.
else, they were just artists for the most part. Like,
Cam and them was rock, right?
yeah.
Juelz might be better than Jay.
Who?
Juelz?
That's a
Santana?
crazy statement, man.
Santana might be a better rapper than Jay.
I don't know about that one.
A rapper?
Now that's
I
funny
don't
because
know.
I literally pulled up playing Dipset Anthem. You know what I'm saying?
Santana
Yeah.
was tough, bro.
Santana
he
was
was fire.
tough.
But
I don't know
that is
about
a better rapper than
Rapper.
Jay-Z is crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy
That's
statement.
right, Gabby. That's right, Gabby. She put her money on Jay-Z. Shout out to
Big
Gabby.
shout out to Gabby. She said Jay. That's pretty factual. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, Jay was in it.
Yeah, Jay was. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. Who else was on their label that was could if there wasn't a Jay, like who else could have?
Cam.
Yeah.
Cam.
Yeah, he was-
Cam
Yeah.
had
If it
that,
would have
yeah.
been anybody else,
Yeah.
it would have been Cam.
Definitely.
I feel that.
Definitely.
Man, Lil Wayne was almost on the Rockefeller.
Yeah.
People don't remember that was the first Chris Paul
Yeah.
denial.
Yeah. Wayne was almost signed to a lot of niggas. Birdman is.
Oh, he was like,
Birdman was
nah.
not happy.
Birdman one of the ones, man.
Birdman.
I don't even want to speak on it. You
You gonna pull up on us?
I ain't gonna say it no more. I ain't gonna say it no more. All three of y'all. All three of y'all. That's
Birdman.
Someone is at the outer space.
Birdman is at the outer space. What? Coming to talk to our tree, y'all.
Nah, bro, Birdman. Damn. Wayne was. What year was that with Wayne?
Damn, that was. I want to say that was.
Dipset South.
Who's
That
the
nigga was.
was
I want to say it was.
was No Limit formed around a producer?
Well,
Yeah, Beats by the Pound.
Beats by the Pound.
They would
Absolutely.
say-
The most active people in No Limit
Yeah.
was Beats by the Pound.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Bro,
think they
yeah.
like you posted that joint,
Yeah.
the Pharrell joint, where Pharrell had like 90 or whatever, how many percent of
40.
the
I
songs
think it was like
that
43 or something.
43% of all the songs in
Crazy, bro.
2000 and something
Yeah.
on the radio.
Beats.
That's
Beats
just
by
like
the
Mouse
Pound.
with Boosie.
Yeah.
Mouse with
Having
Boosie.
a consistent production sound
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
so important,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
Beats by the Pound was like
Zaytoven and Gucci.
a version of that. I can't remember their numbers, but they got some crazy
produced for
number of
everybody,
songs
yeah.
that was that was out in the everything.
And we
90s
be
shit.
forgetting it. We don't. I mean, you know, but we don't throw it out there enough, man. Like Aftermath. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yes.
Oh, that-
Yes.
That was going.
After, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
D12.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All them
Like
folks.
you just had like not every, but so many of the major movements label wise, they just had their go-to production team or producer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Cause, yeah, 'cause-
Was it Maybach had the runners? I think.
yeah, I'm
That's
thinking
just
about
it.
I'm thinking about any
Yeah.
artist that was like on a crazy run. I'm thinking about like 50 Cent. He had a
Yeah.
team of producers like
Yeah.
OVO.
Eminem was a
Drake.
good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But well, I mean, he was signed to Aftermath.
and that's what I'm saying. They already had a.
Yeah, but G Unit was. Would G Unit be considered? Yeah, they're a label. So
Yeah.
They're,
they were a
yeah.
label.
they
They were under. Yeah, they were.
They were.
They were under Aftermath.
They were with
Okay.
Aftermath.
What format? What I'm saying? What format would you consider a G Unit?
I think I do think for the sake of this conversation, I do think it's important to think about label less about like, okay, we want our own input to put out our own stuff, and like we are trying to make like there's a difference between Aftermath and then like, you know, Dipset had a label too, but
But they were. Yeah.
but they weren't like actively going out and creating new artists
Yeah.
in that kind of way. Like G Unit had a label, but you know they sound like Young Buck and but who was a part of G Unit. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
It
Yeah.
was 50 Cent.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was DTP's producer?
Just are you talking about Ludacris? And them?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Shit, Bangladesh was a
At one
part of
point, yeah,
a lot of them
it was
hits,
at
but I don't know if they had like a.
That I don't
Nah, 'cause I
remember
think
them
they
having a set
work with-
producer.
Nah, I think they work with
Question.
But that's another like
model.
that's another G Unit. Like DTB was Ludacris joint.
Yeah.
So Ludacris, I guess he didn't have it.
Yeah,
he had a
like-
label though. He was under. I don't know what label he was under, but they like he was like a whatever the hottest producer. I'm gonna get a beat from like for real.
Yeah, that's how they was set up. The system, man. Damn,
Death
so-
Row. Who did Death Row have?
Death Row, same thing, man.
Yeah.
Death Row, fucking Tupac,
Man.
Snoop. You know what I'm saying?
All
Nate
that.
Dogg,
Artist produ-
Warren G.
yeah.
Like,
Man.
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Rage. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? RBX. Like, Death Row was out here. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing is, you know, Death Row was built off of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre.
And that nigga said, "What you gonna call it?"
Yeah,
Aftermath.
yeah. That's the most cat moment.
What you gonna call it? Aftermath.
done.
And then nigga walked out.
Nah,
Yeah.
Hey, man,
Shout out Dre, though. He gotta make himself look
more
good.
people for that.
He gotta make himself look good. There's a reason why the nigga disappeared. Nigga had
It came back.
Slow as hell, ready.
Yeah, bro.
I feel it, bro.
Who was well now Timbaland, Missy, Timbaland, Lee.
They weren't on the label.
They,
Yeah.
they were signed with
Yeah, Timbaland just ain't had no label, but they were signed Lee was.
Hold on, man. If y'all listening to this right now, or y'all listening to us at some point, what you choosing, man? You starting a label. What you choosing? You choosing songwriter and producer. You choosing artist and producer. You choosing artist and songwriter, engineer and producer, manager and artist and engineer. Matter of fact, I know some of y'all probably have started labels.
Nah, that's real.
Like, what were the first pieces, right? I think most people start labels with an artist.
Art.
I think
Definitely,
that's the general
definitely.
way
I think
most
yeah,
people do it.
artist,
Yeah.
engineer. I feel like that's the main.
No, I say artist producer. I've heard a lot of artists, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the producer end up becoming the engineer. Or,
Yeah.
Yep.
playing multiple roles.
Yeah, but artist engineer is a dangerous model,
Nah, it
bro.
is.
Like,
No, facts.
and then you just little baby that shit and just have niggas send like 100
Send
beats.
Facts.
You just go crazy. No
Yeah.
diddy.
Especially if you get an artist that can attract that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Type, you know what I'm saying?
Got the brand and everything,
Imagine if RXK hooked up with a consistent engineer.
Yeah.
and started the
Yeah.
label. Like,
And just sat in the room all day.
Yeah.
And you send him out for a week to go live life.
I ain't
Put
even
him
gonna lie,
back in the
man.
studio.
That sounds great as hell.
Man,
That's the life though.
straight,
for
you
real.
printing money,
I'm
bro.
looking up at the skyline.
You straight
Yeah.
printing money, bro. Send him to do a tour, go live some other life, then sit your ass back in the studio.
I think that's hella
go get
important.
us some
Do some crazy shit. Yeah. Here goes some Henny.
Yeah, man.
That's what Leo Cohen be doing.
For real, bro.
He got some guns.
Damn.
Go to Chicago.
Yeah, I was kind of a part of this way. You know, I was when I was at Quad, I met a guy named Manny D. And Manny D was signed to a label started by Lastings Millage, who played for the Mets. And yeah, that was the combination. Lastings Millage was the investor, right? And they would just send Manny D to the studio with me. It would just be me and Manny D. I'm like 23. You know, Manny D is like either like 22, 21. And it's just me and him in the studio locked in for like 10 hours, just dropping songs. You know what I'm saying? Pulling up beats and just boom, boom, boom. So, you know, that I've seen that up close. You know?
Yeah.
Sounds like a hella fun process.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we really get to lock in, man. And just thinking about, and well, I know for me, I said engineer and producer. Now I'm thinking about when you present these beats to these artists, like, what do you care about the most? How you going to attract them? Is it going to be the mix of the engineer or like the arrangement of the production? Like, what do you feel is that
solid.
missing piece that's going to attract the artist?
That was very solid.
Hold on. Let me get that question one more time, IG. Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Being that I chose engineer and producer, so I'm just thinking on the sense of when you're trying to attract artists for them to work with, like what's more important when you send that music out? Is it the mix of the beats or is it the arrangement of the beats that you feel will, attract these artists?
So in terms of like, so the goal is to get an artist on the beat.
Yeah.
That's the context of
It's
arrangement
definitely
versus
the mix.
producer. I mean, arrangement versus
Versus engineer, yeah.
In my opinion, I would definitely say it's the mix because during the mix comes arrangement. You're taking in, putting out. Yeah.
Well, let's just, for the sake of this argument,
it's
the
just-
mix is, the beat is just the beat. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
and
doing,
and you just mixing it.
yeah.
So the engineer just mixing it joint.
I still say mixing. Yeah. Because even with arrangement, like when you're arranging something, you're just placing things where they should go. But you can do the same thing in the mix. It's kind of like the same thing. You're placing things where they should go and taking them away from where they shouldn't be.
But I guess, like we said, for this portion, that's what we're saying. Like you're just mixing it. You're not editing the arrangement.
Oh.
So that's why I said which one is more
the
valuable.
arrangement then. Yeah.
I still feel like, I feel like this is the easiest. I feel like it's the mix, no matter what. Like, if the mix is bad, no nigga ain't finna hear the arrangement. Like, like,
Yeah.
like they gonna be like, nah, this mix suck. And you could drop
Yeah.
everything and just, if the drums suck and you drop everything, it's just the drums. That's just gonna be like, damn, these some weak ass drums. Like,
I say the arrangement in the sense of like as a producer, and I'm also thinking about you as a producer. You care about sound selection, and everything like that. So
so you got a mixed beat then.
I mean,
I'm assuming that-
but
I
it's
still
not.
stick
It's not
with the
necessarily
mix.
a mixed beat. If you start with good ingredients, like
I mean, it depends on where you get your sounds from. Because if your sounds are already mixed in,
I don't know, because you can have mixed sounds, but the arrangement be trash. And
Well, yeah,
It don't make.
Yeah.
Like even if you have
Hold
good
on.
sounds.
I just want to be clear. I want to reinforce what Kid said, just so I'm clear. what is the goal? The goal is just to get an artist.
Get
to
artists,
beat?
yeah. Yep.
Okay, my nigga. As a guy who has made thousands of beats
It's the mix.
and sold a lot of beats and played, and, you know, just had a lot of things happen with my beats, bro, I'm here to tell y'all factually, I feel the same way C Mage feels. Like, it's not even close. It is night and day. Like, when I make a beat and it is mixed well, that joint is 37 million times more likely to get picked up than a beat that I creatively have done well, even with a great arrangement and great melody and all that stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So if you have to pit those two against each other, bruh, I've seen just 2 or 4 bar loops that just sound amazing get yanked up. Because for me, what I find is the most sellable thing is when they hear it, how much are they hearing what will become the final product, right? That's what people want to. People want to know, like they want to be able to associate a quality with themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how great this sounds is how I will be sounding. You know what I'm saying? And I find, like, it's to the point where sometimes I'll make a beat and there'll be challenging elements in it, and like, even if I feel like it is creatively a monster, if I don't get that mix somewhere where I feel like it is at the same level, I almost get skeptical about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's not knocking, if it's not clear, if things don't sit in a space where they're being unchallenged by other things, like, I just feel like I'm dramatically, because then you're looking for a visionary, and most people are not visionaries.
Yeah.
That's the
Very
thing.
true. Very good point.
That's the
good
thing.
point.
You can have a crazy arrangement, a crazy creative, creative beat. Right, I'm saying, but like, the mix is what helps people see what it's gonna end up like.
Yeah, as soon as you hit play, do this shit, like,
Yeah.
just take me away.
Absolutely.
If it don't,
Yeah.
then it's next. Like,
That's it. You don't even get to the arrangement. Like, you don't even get to what
Yeah.
happened after 8 bars. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sticking with my first answer. Yeah.
That's right.
yeah.
Got me thinking.
Yeah, I agree. Especially for the goal of getting placements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that part of the creative process is even more like capital, dependent on like immediate,
What
same
if-
type joints.
what if you're knowledge though? What if you're just trying to put out a beat tape? Then what do you think?
I think there's just like a difference in, especially if you got a guy like Knowledge, like the appeal of Knowledge is 100% not his arrangements. It's the texture of his final product, which is the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Even if it's not what other industries or standards would consider like high quality or clear, whatever, it's got a specific sound in the mix. So I think it's a huge part of it. You know what I'm saying? As a producer, you're just putting out a beat tape. Like, as long as it sounds intentional, really. You know what I'm saying? What isn't a good mix is
I'm trying to
super
think.
subjective, I think.
Is there any situation where arrangement trumps mix in my head? I'm trying to think.
I definitely think so.
Where?
Yeah, I think so. I think, okay, this is where I think arrangement trumps mix. Is when you're selling it to another visionary, right? Now, who is another visionary? When you're selling it to a songwriter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you just straight to the artist, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you like, hold on, I want this to become a song.
Yeah.
Before I get to the artist, a songwriter can hear, oh shit, this is
pockets
crazy.
and
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And then
And he
can
need-
write and present a dope song. Now that's different. You know what I'm saying? If you're writing and presenting a dope song, it's got a beat with an arrangement, it's got a hook, a verse, all of that stuff. It doesn't. That's where I would say the mix would take a backseat. The mix is still important, no doubt. But like, a dope ass song is a dope ass song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And an artist again can see closer to the finish line because of what the songwriter did. You know what I'm saying? So internally to another songwriter, I think the arrangement is going to trump the mix.
Yeah.
Externally to just an artist, nah, it's the mix.
For sure.
Yeah, I think about the arrangement more so just of course I know mixing is part of that in a sense of the emotional like response to it. A lot of times, at least from what I've seen, artists respond a certain way when certain things drop out or certain drops in general, or you bring in certain elements of the beat. And I feel like if you have good sounds and you know how to mix without mixing, the arrangement part of it, I feel like that's what helps you get into that door. And of course, I'm an engineer as well, and I agree. The mix itself can do so many different things. But like just because I've sent off production, I sent off beats, and they be like a 8-bar loop, and it just certain drops or certain things that are how I arranged it to where artists be like honestly, recently when I sent something to Frankie, and she was like, bro, this drop right here, it gave me this and this. I was like, bet. And the beat's not mixed, but because again, I have good sounds and I arrange it a certain way, I got a certain response to it.
Yeah, and artists love it when you do that while they're in the booth. You know what I'm saying? They be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? He dropped it, it's so crazy.
Bro, this is why, hey man, this is why, like, I don't know how y'all do that whole mouse thing, bro. Like, I don't even understand. Bro.
Yeah,
Hey, I've
to be
witnessed
able
it,
to touch the faders
bro.
is crazy.
I'm
I ain't
doing
gonna
that
lie.
while they record, especially after the first or second time, bro.
Facts.
I'm gonna let y'all know something right now, bro. Everybody watching and listening, if you ever get some money, you know what I'm saying, and you want an amazing recording experience, fuck with me. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck
Like,
with me.
I go way further than your average guy hitting record.
I can
You know what I'm
witness.
saying?
That's a fact.
And so, no, you're absolutely right. The first time an artist goes through that verse, and honest time, when I'm just checking levels and making sure the compressor set up right, blah, 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 I'm also listening for like where they start and stop, special places in the verse. Because what I'm going to do is
The
like,
tone of how I'm gonna sing it.
absolutely. What I'm going to do is like either while you're doing it or upon listening back, I'm going to put my sins on the faders,
Yep.
right? And then like, as soon as you end a part of the verse, I'm going to throw this fader up on a delay. All of a sudden it's like, you know what I'm saying? And I was on the block, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like live, as you listening back, you know what I'm saying? On certain parts, certain elements. And it's going to sound like the final thing
That's
just
right.
at playback. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? And that's going to make you think differently. It's going to make you be a little bit more creative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I love all of that. But that's just stuff like, good luck trying to do that with a mouse, bro. Like, I don't even understand.
My mouse game out here now. Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Come
But you
on,
do that
man.
one track at a time.
This is why niggas record to the 2-track. Send me the 2-track. I'll record it.
So I got
Send me
you.
the stems like give me the bounce. You know what I'm saying?
I love doing that. I'll take out the snare surf while
I be
you
doing
record,
crazy
you know what I'm
shit to
saying?
the
Like,
This is also why I got the push, so I could do that. Because hell no, you know what I mean? Like it's way
Nah,
better.
it's
It
way
does make a
better,
difference.
for
It makes a
sure.
difference.
There is
for
one
sure.
caveat to this junk though that I just been thinking about, and again, I feel like it's a little bit. I don't know if arrangement outright wins when it comes to the final product either. Like a song that's out,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and what an arrangement does. I think we could talk about that, but specifically in this like pre-song can come out junk. The one caveat that I just want to get y'all opinion on is just something we are kind of touching on is that like a bad arrangement of your sounds can make it difficult to get a good mix. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
absolutely.
Like if you're not if you're doing that wrong, you might not be able to have a good mix.
Right, that's
And
right.
it can cloud the vision. Like I was initially one of them. Like when I first started making beats, I just had hella ideas, and I didn't necessarily know how to arrange. So like artists would be like, this is a dope beat, but I don't see myself in it. I don't know where to because it was just so much going on.
Yeah.
And then once I learned, like, I can still have these ideas. I just need to learn how to
Move 'em around.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then it became a totally different experience.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna play the beat where I figured that out, bro. I'm gonna play the beat. This beat, let me see if I can find this yet. This beat is when I was like, yo, all right. I can't, because when I first started making beats, I would just make a 4-bar loop and like just dump all the ideas
Everything in
That was
it.
into this
was,
4-bar loop. And like you saying, right, it's just like without a like, this part only goes here and this part only goes here. When you're just trying to do this, yo, good luck with that mix, my dude. You know, let me see if I can find this. It's a beat called "Oh Heaven," and I made this in New York. And I remember this one when I was like, yo, I think I truly understand this now. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I would do it on, there it is. Sometimes I would do it on accident. But this time was, and like I remember, you know, this is something I've seen you talk about recently, C-Mage, is like, man, it can be tough to just be like some part that you really
Bro,
like to just have that shit not playing.
I'll be
You know what I'm
struggling
saying?
with
Like,
that. I ain't gonna lie.
it just be like, yeah. Yo, I love that Heaven, Oh Heaven so much. I had to create another joint on this part, the verse. I'm gonna tell you another secret too. All the vocals in this is Marie.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's the cheat code.
That's
That's the
crazy.
real cheat code.
And then to watch this, I just got my Nord. I'm trying not to go too ham on the
Yeah.
organ. You know what I'm saying? Organ. Alright, check this out.
Yeah.
And I have to come back to this joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember riding around on the train in New York playing this, and I was like, yo. And so the way I look at it now is like
That's crazy.
you gotta like, I would build like this. You gotta build like this.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be patient. That's the
Yeah.
word, bro.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's the word. 'Cause LJ, me and you talked about this
Yep.
recently. Like you gotta be patient. You know you killed something in the bass line, but you gotta wait for that to come. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta. That's tough.
It is
tough.
for
You
sure.
know what I'm saying? Like to create something that's interesting enough that allows you to be patient to get to that one part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's tough.
You got any comments? Any folks chatting up?
Yeah, we got Gabby locked in. She says, I still need more clarity on the differences between a sound engineer and a producer. I ask y'all often because I'm trying to understand. Absolutely. And we only make it worse because all of us are sound engineers
And producing.
But yeah, who want to take a stab at that?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, y'all know?
So there
Yeah.
are very different levels to being an engineer. As far as a
So
sound
muddy now.
engineer,
Yeah.
a sound engineer. I'm not a sound engineer. You know what? Because sound engineers, speak up.
In the context of writing music or making a song,
Yeah.
right? I think the easiest way is to separate the elements of songwriting and composition. So that's lyrics, all the melodies, bass lines, drums, and picking the sounds, right? Those elements fall under the production side. The sound engineering is like the mixing. So that's equalization, leveling, loudness, versus how loud are things versus other elements in the song. So that's I know you're a photographer, Gabby. It's like making the composition of the shot, shooting it. You know what I'm saying? Taking the picture, telling the artist, the model what poses to hit, finding the location, all of that. And then the engineering is taking those raw photos and adding the color, you know
Good
what
way
I'm
to
saying?
put that.
And the color correction, you know what I'm saying? Taking out mistakes, right? Distracting elements. That would be akin to the sound engineering side. So yeah.
Manicuring that.
That was pretty.
Yeah, it was a kind of decent. Yeah, I mean, good work, kid.
I like the comparison.
Yes, sir.
And
Let's
the
see.
producer.
So wait. Wait, it gets worse. Does producer make beats like produce the beat? And sound engineer mixes and arranges those beats to put it together.
And
You getting closer, you know what I'm saying? You're leaning in the direction. Yeah.
so
Arranging-
producers don't always make the beats. Producers actually produce emotions, produce the vibe. A producer pretty much creates. They pretty much. I think of when I think of produce, I think of like
Fruit.
a product. Like we put the product together. We create the product.
Yeah, and then in the context of like hip hop and most like contemporary genres, like R&B and stuff, and even like pop music, the producer is oftentimes also making a beat or a part of the beat. So that's a giant. An arrangement is kind of like that's closer to the creative part, the songwriting part, right? So I would say that's more of a production act than a sound engineering act. But that's one of those things that directly affects the sound engineering. Because how sounds are arranged over time in the song can affect the amount of space that you can create for the mix.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when if you light your subject where you take the picture too much, you overexpose it. So when it's time to edit it, it's too much going on and you can't do anything with it. It's just like,
Yo, kid, you know all about the overexposure.
That's a real sound engineer right there.
I mean, I could overexpose something on the A7S. Wait, tell you, bro.
Let me tell you.
Picture profile 7.
Come on.
Let me
Come
tell
on.
you.
Me and LJ was just talking about this. Yo, that's fast. Me and LJ was just talking about this because, like, him, myself, Virgos, and Austin Michael just did a song, and I wouldn't call it like done, but like I mixed what we did relatively fast, right? It's so much. I always tell people, man, it's so much easier for me to mix my stuff because I produce knowing what I'm gonna do in a mix. You know what I'm saying? I'm choosing sounds. I'm high pass filtering. I'm low pass filtering. I'm doing all the things that I know is gonna set up the mix to be easy. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just listening to that song the other day, LJ, and I'm just like, bruh, really, it just need a few drops here and there.
I
But,
told you,
that's
we
just a rap. Like,
it's straight.
and I don't even know how long, man, maybe an hour and a half?
Yeah,
Something like that, 2 hours, you know what I'm saying? Maybe. I
right,
don't
maybe
even know.
if you put all the time together,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, we did that jump.
I mean, literally from like LJ hitting keys to like, here's an MP3. You know what I'm saying? It was super swift because
crazy system.
yeah, just because of the things chosen in the
Right,
production.
right.
Yeah.
Bro, that's being a producer and engineer. I struggle with. I'm just thinking about like letting other engineers mix my songs.
shit,
So
yeah.
it's because and more so it's difficult because I am a producer and I do a lot of post production and stuff like that. It's like, bro, I just do it myself. Let me, I can't. I don't know. I haven't found that discipline in like being able to, I guess, give the direction with after like allowing another engineer to, I guess, follow my direction in that. I'm not that great at that because again, when I'm in the process of mixing, I'm still a producer. So I'm hearing things like, oh, okay, this will be dope. Let me add some keys. Let me do it. Like, I can't imagine trying to go back and forth with the engineer. Be like, bro, well, just give me a little minute. Let me add this, and then I'm sending it back to you because I'm always hearing something different as the song moves on.
I'm let me talk about something I was thinking about recently, bro. That I want to make sure I say this the right way. Man, let me ask you how this. Sometimes I'll hear a mix that I would consider a good mix, but it's still boring as fuck. Like, like it's just everything is where it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing sounds bad, right? And your hi-hat sounds good, your vocal sounds good, but it's almost, I don't know, man. When I mix in stages. So I mix like, the first stage of mixing for me is like, editing, right? Making sure all the dumb stuff is gone. All the dumb sounds are gone, right? And then the next thing is like another form of editing, which is like frequency removal, right? So now I'm EQ editing, right? Getting rid of, muddy things and all of that stuff, right? Then I'm sharpening, right? And I'm placing things in a spectrum that is, EQ spectrum, but is also like, panning spectrum, right? And then after that, I'm kind of like locking everything in together in a way that feels cohesive and all of that stuff or whatever. And I feel like some mixes just stop there.
Yeah.
Right? Now, for me, like that last stage when I'm like kind of like pulling everything together and kind of making sure things, gel, everything's talking to each other, right? A part of that is like a back and forth conversation between doing that and automation, right? Between doing that and adding exciting textures, exciting effects that enhance the emotional impact of this song, right? It's like finding things that only happen once. Like one snare with a long ass, and that'll never happen again. It's finding that one part where she stopped singing, and then it's got a quick ass reverb.
Yeah.
And it's going from left to right. You know what I'm saying? Like these things that make a song an experience.
Yeah.
I feel like most people I hear mix now, they never get to that part. Like even if they let Neutron and all these other AI things like make their shit sound good, they just stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They never get to the creative part of mixing, and that to me, while it's not a bad mix, it feels like a bad mix.
Yeah.
It feels like a lost opportunity.
It's going to,
That's
yeah.
what
It's,
makes me not deal with a lot of producers / engineers because of those elements of that. Like, I want to feel what I want to experience, the experience I had when I wrote the song or when I presented it at the same time of me, recording it.
yeah. And you want the nigga that's mixing it to actually care about it. Like
Exactly.
that's what happens when you
Exactly.
actually care about the song. Not saying that like a lot of engineers don't, but it's hard to care about a song that you, like most of the songs we're mixing, they're our babies. Like we started, they started on our MPC.
I think that's the difference too.
These are my stands. I know
That's
what I was
right.
doing. I made this. I
That's
know.
right.
I know what Unique was doing. She was writing it because I saw her doing it and I saw her recording it. And so even while you're recording, you're hearing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing it in the recording. Like I'm gonna throw the A here. I'm gonna do the delay here. And so you're already like knowing. It's hard to send those stems off to somebody who didn't go through none of that process.
That's right.
Especially I feel like here too. Like in the city. Like I feel like. From I don't be in like these big record label as I don't be sending my shit out to many American who the fuck these niggas be like they be like really doing this shit, but like the only time I heard niggas really take a record and they had no idea like when it was recorded and actually put some care, it'd be like the niggas on the top of the world. It'd be like niggas that do this shit for real professionally. For like for most people this shit is just a job, like and they might fuck with you, they might fuck with the song, but they don't. They got 60 other records and niggas like, and they just.
I know, and like that'd be tough for me, but it's more so about. It depends on the relationship I have with the artist, because I've definitely done that on some like, oh no, I think this would be crazy, but then it's like they get it and be like, this sounds completely different than what I presented to you, and it's because you did all the extra stuff. So I think it's just that relationship really matters to figure out, I guess, what part you should play. Well, are you just on some? All right, I'm just gonna mix this song versus I'm finna. Okay, let me make this. Let me completely make this a song. Let me make this a record.
Right.
You know what's funny about that, man? My bad, somebody about to say that?
Nah, I was just gonna say I guarantee more times than not, like when you do that, the nigga gon' fuck with it. Like you might get a few niggas that be like, nah, and I have got that. Like I have got like some. Nah, I just want to play. Like some people just do be wanting to like playing born. I want this, but like. That shit be rare. It'd be like 1 out of 10 niggas would be like,
absolutely. Like that's exactly what I was about to say. I was saying like honestly, like I've never gone above and beyond in that kind of way. Or let me just say this: C-Mage is absolutely right. I have definitely run into times where, like, hey man, actually, let's just make it back to how it was, or those kinds of things, right? Now, that is an extreme minority. Yeah. Extreme minority. And when that happens, I usually link it to two different things. Either like an addiction to the reference.
Yep. Demoitis.
That's what it is. Yep.
Right? Like just demoitis, absolutely, right? And then secondarily, before I knew what I was doing in that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like there was a time when I was like, yo, let me take this to the next level. And I'm just adding stuff because I technically know how to do it, but it didn't necessarily feed the message or the idea of the song.
Right.
Right? Once I learned how to do that, Once I listen to what you're saying,
Yeah.
listen to the emotion of the song, now I'm choosing how I enhance it correctly.
Right.
Right? So there's still a skill of mine I needed to enhance to do that correctly. Once I began in that, like honestly, that has not happened in years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, every time I give something back and I've added things and done this, blah, blah, blah,
Like,
people
damn.
are like,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's, yeah, absolutely. It is a skill you have to learn how to do to meet, to push the song in the right direction versus just any direction.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Nah. Definitely agree with that. I struggled with that for a while. Because, I mean, but even when of course, I felt I did it right, but I've had folks like that maybe I adjusted their flow a certain way, putting the timing right, put them in a certain pocket. Then they get like, bro, this don't sound like me. And I'll be like, bro.
I done fell back on that. I definitely.
I had to stop because like it takes so much time. But you know me, I'm like, nah, I think this sounds great this way, but the artist might not want it that way. And it's like have to understand like this ain't my song. This is your vision. Cool.
You know what though? Hold on. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get to some comments. I'm gonna say this, man. I don't do. This is actually an extreme minority of my career, right? But man, I'm gonna be real. Sometimes as a producer engineer, I and this is extremely rare. I'm usually not like this, but sometimes I can feel like I can see like, hey man, the artist, are gonna fuck up this song. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, like I
Yeah.
have to check myself 18 times before I implement anything in this lane of thought because it's not my song.
Yep.
Right? But when I know the song you're trying to make, like, and I feel like I have a good grasp on where you're trying to go, man, artists, you can 1,000% trip up yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna be real.
That's right.
Sometimes, you know, LJ, I mean, hey, dog. Sometimes I gotta get on my Swiss beats, bro. Sometimes I have to convince
Gotta
you.
sell it to him.
Absolutely. Sometimes I gotta be like, bro, I know you was trying to put but nah, it gotta go like this, bro.
Move a certain way.
Check it out, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then they be like,
Okay.
all right, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you had to get, you know. sometimes you gotta sell it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I rarely do that, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, bro, don't mess up this song. Don't mess up this song.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
niggas
saying?
care, bro. Like,
Exactly.
Even
That's
as
it.
being an artist, like we can
Yeah.
put too much on a damn track, put too many vocals and shit.
All right, let me get to some comments. Big shout out to Stephen James Todd. He said he's going back. He says engineer and artist. That's his combination. He also says he needs management like a mug. Gus, big shout out to Gus. What up, Gus?
what up,
He
guys?
says all the things that make a song an experience. Ooh, I love that. There's a tiny effect on one single whoop I did on the song. Producer Matt Qualls.
Shout out, Matt.
Big shout
Okay.
out, Matt. It totally made that part. I smile every time I listen back, and it's something I would not have known to do on my own. Absolutely, man. Yeah, those pairings are just
Hey.
incredibly important.
Shout out, Gus. Side note, me and Gus went to high school together too. We were in band together. That's
Hell
my
yeah.
nigga, bro. That's my
So,
guy.
big shout out to Gus.
That's you and them together. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
Hold
went
on.
to you. which I
We
went
got
to.
another
That's
comment
cool.
from Gabby. She says, keeping with analogy, really the producer is more like the creative director. And with a smidge of photographer shooting the shot, and the sound engineer is more like the photographer editing photos. That feels good.
Yeah.
No Diddy.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
that-
Diddy.
that-
Pause.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I feel good. Let's
Great
go ahead and let's
analogy,
screenshot that for all of our photography metaphors from now on.
Period.
Man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man, where we at, bro?
Man, we're talking about these producers and engineers. More so now, like everything is on some subscription base. What's a platform that if you could be like, man, I wish they had a subscription? Like, who would it be?
I'm about to just throw out some wild. I go first though.
I was
Does Fab fit there? I feel like they got a
They don't.
subscription. They
I
don't.
looked at it, I was like, damn.
That might be one. You did get a subscription now,
Yeah, they got one.
But is it for the real stuff?
It's
Nah,
not.
it's
no.
not.
It's the real. It's
It's native joint, yeah. This is good.
Yeah, but
It's
I mean
not
that's your
good.
own. That's your computer's DSP.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not the, to me.
So you
to
can't-
me, that's not the real John.
So you can't do the regular
Yeah.
Apollo DSP with it. Okay.
Nah.
I wish-
Okay, I might go UAD then.
What is it? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Antares.
I'm sorry.
Antares.
They got
They
subscription.
got subscription.
Yeah, I'm on that joint.
They
Right
do?
Yeah, I definitely got that joint.
Everything they
Yeah,
got.
I definitely got that. Lock in, bro.
now.
Been on that.
I'm sick of these subscriptions. though.
Just took my
God damn
money
it,
yesterday.
like, shit.
Bro, now once I started working with more artists that was like auto tune, I was like, all right, bro, let me go ahead and got this joint. Well, low key, the Apollo, it came with auto tune, so my
Bruh,
version.
dude, Spectre
Mine
Sonics
did.
got a fucking subscription.
You chose one, right? 'Cause
Huh?
I need key.
No, it came with it. Like that was part of my
I know what came.
auto
That's
tune.
not normal. But yeah.
No, I'm saying I have one of the latest models, so it came with it.
I just came with your Apollo. It
Yeah.
came with mine too.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I had auto tune, and then when I got mine, it was auto tune 9. What we on now? 10.
I feel like it's
It was 9, and then
Is it only
10
the
came
twin?
out, and it was like $50.
Hey, bro. Is RX subscription?
I feel like
Yeah,
they have one.
you got the production suite, so you can.
Yeah.
But
Isotope,
and you would
yeah.
get all the gangster RX stuff.
Isotope.
Yeah, I'm on a
I have to
subscription.
subscription.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on a subscription
I
now for
feel like every
Isotope.
time new RX come out, that's gonna be like $800.
It do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
can
get
do
a
the
subscription
subscription.
and buy it.
Yeah.
But they got a subscription.
I'm on a subscription now for it.
that'd be the only reason.
Oh.
Yeah. What I'm thinking, outside of FabFilter, I was thinking Sound Toys. I love Sound
Okay,
Toys.
so
See,
hold on. So, my
But-
bad. Go ahead, you need. Go ahead. You need. My bad.
That's what I don't understand. That's just like Pro Tools. If you buy if you're paying a subscription, you would think that the money that you pay would add up to you buying the actual
Like
program.
rent to
the
buy?
rent to own. Some of them
Exactly.
do
Like,
that. Some of them do that.
like
but
I would think that would be a great idea for you guys to start doing.
Not for
Like,
me.
not for them.
you know what I mean?
They
keep
lose
charging.
money.
Like, no.
Wait, but help y'all.
You don't want to pay it all right now.
I just don't understand. Like, you're pretty
I
much
do.
paying $800 altogether.
Plus-
You're paying more. To keep generating income, but if niggas done spent double the money of that program that they've been investing in, why not give it to them?
Because you
niggas?
paying for the updates. You paying for the upgrades.
You
They
trying
should
to be
get free
They trying to make
upgrades.
money.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Like this ain't that. This ain't.
you got a moral clause.
They do that. They got a money club.
So before I looked it up, I was going to say output, and I looked it up. I was like, oh, they have a whole.
Output got a subscription.
Yeah, so I'm definitely about to.
Everybody.
I'm on that.
Yeah, man.
I'm about to grab. I was like,
I
yeah,
fuck with the sound tub, but they don't do enough, bro.
they don't,
Like,
but it's
So okay, so here's the thing that I'm thinking, right? All the people I would mention, or all the organizations I would mention to get subscription from, they pricing is just so good. Like what would the subscription be? $4.99 a month? Like
yeah.
it's just
one I was going to say. I thought you would have said, man. It's what's the name? Teletune.
Teletone.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
they prices is so good. It's like $89 for like
Every
something
time
that
they
changed my
drop.
whole life. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but if I want all those joints at once,
yeah,
Bruh, I'm-
$90 is I'm when I'm thinking subscription, I'm thinking something that's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's why I'm. That's why I'm
Yeah.
going Spectre Sonics,
Like
bro.
Pro Tools
He's
and
got to
all
be
that
like
shit.
$600, bro. If I could
Yeah.
just do a subscription, which you slick can't. Sweetwater, you can do a subscription with everything.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
Affirm
yeah,
that
pretty
shit.
much, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Shout out to Sweetwater though, for real. Sweetwater be coming through.
Yeah, I would say I don't know. Maybe like the Gangster Spitfire library because they got labs.
Man, you love them dudes.
I haven't.
They got labs that you can subscribe to, which is dope. But like the real libraries,
Yeah.
like them giants, yeah.
I need to check them out. I've been hearing people talk. I'm not tapped into Spitfire.
me neither. Shit sound kind of diddy if you.
Now hold on. Now if I could just be innovative right quick. Hey,
All right, no.
I would definitely like if certain either sample makers or drum loop dudes,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I could be a subscription for them,
Yeah.
Nah, that'd be
I
great,
mean
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Big
that's the thing
facts.
is, Splice is like this whole entire. I don't care about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want from very
Yeah.
specific.
And I want this shit to be mine. Like,
Absolutely.
like you
Yeah.
send me the pack that don't nobody else
That's
get. Like
right.
on some
That's
like
right.
Wheezy shit. Wheezy out of here.
I
Yeah.
wish that would.
Really quickly, Gabby says, And then specifically for Mad, I'm gonna relate mastering to retouching. Yep, which is basically refining specific details,
Type shit.
removing imperfections and such, versus editing, which is making the broader changes. That sounds
That
correct.
sounds-
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Sound like you got
Shout
a
out
book.
to Gabby.
Sound like you got a book.
Gabby
right
been
there.
in here on the low making
And
beats.
period.
Mixed
And
got
a whole EP.
period.
Exactly, bro.
Let's go.
The mic was mad low. Now I know.
Produce, mix, and master. Let's
doing
go.
God. Man, so okay, on the subscription tip, like I'm thinking about like and I hate that this is a thing. Like Netflix and Amazon, all them, in a sense of like how they
Oh, my bad. I gotta exercise what I said I would exercise. Stephen James Todd says sample over instrument throw. Gus says C major taught me how to play the snare drum. Go
Yes, sir.
Spartans.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to
Okay.
Spartans.
That's my
bad.
guy.
Go ahead, LJ.
Yeah, we got some Spartans in here. Feel me?
yeah. So I'm
Some
thinking
fresh
about
ass Spartans too. That nigga, yeah, we gotta talk about that too. That nigga say he wasn't fresh, but nigga Matt used to be fresh as hell, bro. if Matt ever told you he wasn't a fresh nigga in school, he lied to you, bro. Nah, that nigga be fresh as
I
hell.
never said that. That's what they told me. Bro, I was just telling
Niggas
a
was
friend
hating.
of mine. I was just telling
Niggas
a
was
friend of
hating.
mine when I moved back to Memphis, and I went to go see my homies for like the first time. Right, the first thing one of the homies said was, "Damn, Duke's fresh."
Damn.
They had never seen this before.
Damn. That's how they feel.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, like, damn, what's up, dog? Good seeing you, bro.
How I'm doing? I'm good.
You know, I appreciate you asking.
But yeah, if you could bundle platforms on
Bundle.
some subscription shit, like who would it be? What's the partners? What's the pairings?
OnlyFans. I'm just playing.
Damn.
I'm just playing.
Oh, F. Yeah.
I had to be the
Hold
random
on.
one.
What's the question one more time?
OnlyFans mixed with the specials.
Whoa, what?
If you could bundle subscriptions or just different platforms, different who would it be? So different software. OnlyFans special sounds crazy. But yeah, if you could bundle any platform, UAD, FileFilter, Waves, whatever, like who would your parent be?
The waves ain't in there motherfucker for sure. I know that. Out there, there go UAD fan filter.
Definitely you.
I mean, not fan filter. What's they name? Is it fan filter? Is that the company name?
FileFilter, yeah.
Right.
Get all that shit.
Honestly, bro, man, I'm gonna just roll with, man. Sheesh.
Good
I mean, I'm gonna pull a CEO move and buck the system a little bit. Teletone, XLN audio for RC20, and Knock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could just all of that is like I'm honestly, if that was all one subscription, I might not have no other subscriptions. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
I'm definitely with the Teletone.
Yeah.
They sounds is crazy.
Bounce guy, what up?
I've tested out the tonal architecture.
Yeah, Tone Architect, man.
It's
Crazy.
Oh, I'm gonna let y'all know something, man. I be discovering stuff here, man. I remember when the Kareem Riggins drums came out, right? I found these drums. I was like, bro, this crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't even understand. Like, y'all need to understand what kind of friend and producer, partner, and leader I am. As soon as I find something that's game changing, I'm getting up, I'm walking to Butterfly, I'm walking to the other studio. Kid Maestro is doing something that's probably important to his life. I stop him. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, I don't care what you're doing, bro. You gotta get these Kareem Riggins drums right now. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And this is how it always goes. Yeah, man, it sounds dope, man. You know, I'm gonna check it out. No! You have to get it right now, bro. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And then weeks will pass. Hold on, wait. Weeks will pass. I've made some beat, right? One of these guys will walk past. yo, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, Kareem, bring it down. You know what I'm saying? Stop. Whatever you doing, get that jump right now.
I tried
bro.
to show him.
And so there are many iterations of this dynamic. And the latest one
Yeah, bro.
is Tone Architect. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when I put y'all on to the Rickenbacker jet,
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm just not arguing because I had just been on the Rickenbacker joint so long because it came with the OG contact joint.
but was you on it like that?
Yeah,
You
the
used
dub
the dub?
bass, bro.
Nah, you was not using
Come
the
on,
dub,
bro. What you talking
You was not using that dub.
I was using the
Nigga, I was using the bass, but when my computer got stolen, bro, this is like original, like.
Bro,
Damn.
pull up
Weird
the beat.
maestro.
I don't got the beats no more.
That's quite convenient. You know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure. Actually, it's some weird maestro
weird
joints
maestro.
in the bass camp
Weird
somewhere. It's
maestro,
probably on there.
period.
Man, this is an easy way to get out of this, bro.
Yeah, the dub
My beats were stolen, bro. Yeah.
A dog ate my homework.
It's all good. Yeah, but the latest one is
Tone
Tone Architect,
Architect
bro.
is
I've been
crazy,
walking
bro.
around. Teletone, y'all see me. I'm walking around my studio. I'm putting my producers on. I'm telling them, yo, Tone Architect is the way of life right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that joint's crazy.
Hey, really quick shout out, man. I don't know who gonna be watching this, man. Akai, I saw what you did with the low fly dirt.
Yeah.
Big shout out to that.
Shout out
the
to
next
Akai.
people you need to pull in as a third party provider for your hardware plugins is Teletone Audio.
Nah, bro.
Get that Tone Architect built into the MPC-X.
It's over.
Bruh.
Bro.
What? With that and then the Flavor Pro?
It's over.
I'm gonna need a car to come out with a new controller for FL.
That first jump for FL was not it.
Whack as fuck. It's whack. I went and got my money back.
You know, I just don't understand what it was supposed to do. Just for the.
It do something.
Dang, that shit wasn't doing
They dropped the
nothing.
Nikita.
And then the fact that each button, like the buttons on there, look exactly like the one. Like I would at least expect them to have like some kind of screen for like the piano roll type
They basically
vision.
gave
We couldn't
you-
even get nothing of that.
They gave you your sequencer right there.
Literally, like
They gave you a
literally,
sequencer in
they didn't give
physical
us
form. That's
shit.
it.
I'm gonna tell you why they did that though, fam, and I'm gonna keep it all the way real. You know, the reason why they did that, fam, I don't think any, you know, whether it was FL, Fruity Loops who paid Akai to do that. I can totally see FL having a board meeting and being like, yo, we want to create a dedicated hardware device for our software, blah, blah, blah. And then they had to think about, all right, cool, well, let's make sure it fits our demographic. I don't think,
Oh my god.
I'm just being honest, I don't think the core demographic who uses FL is trying to spend $800 or $1,000 on a controller.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think so, right? Meanwhile, and I'm a Dodge NPC altogether, I do think people who use Ableton, right? Even if they only had the software and they bootlegged it, I think the demographic who uses Ableton, which is much more like, I'm a scientist, I will invest in my craft, I enjoy this, right? Like, those guys are significantly more likely to be like, what? The Push 3 for $1,500? It's not a problem. I have good credit. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just being honest, right?
The way the niggas sound.
That's how every one of them sound exactly, including Kid. Every one of them sound exactly like that. You know, and so I think that I honestly feel like that was a demographic call. They were like, look, man, we can't charge no more than $500 for a controller for FL.
What can we do with $500?
And then exactly, what can we do for $500? And that's what they made.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was
I know
that
it wasn't $800.
It's like $200.
There you go.
Right,
It was like
I didn't think
200
it was that
bucks.
much.
It wasn't that much at all.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's
They probably
real.
felt like, yo, our demographic ain't dropping more than $400.
Yeah, this don't look crazy.
Ain't that shit whack as fuck?
It like a keyboard.
It literally,
It's
that's
just
all
a
it
physical
is.
sequencer. That's all.
There's no piano roll on
That's
there.
all-
There's
that's all
no,
it is.
there's no
They wasn't
nothing
thinking
on
about
there.
y'all
There's
for
no
real.
splash.
I mean, but I feel like you said, their demographic.
What am I gonna do
They were
with that?
introduced onto the click.
So Unique, let me ask you this though. Let's get it on record, right?
Uh-huh.
As an FL user, hold on. How much do you think my MPC costs?
Way more than that thing.
No, just take a guess. Take a guess.
I'd probably say a good 5 to
100?
600.
Wow.
I fucking wish.
Fam, my MPC was $2,500.
Ouch.
I wish that joint was
Ow.
$500 or $600.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the baby jump, the jump I got was 1,200.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. Like,
So I got what I
hold
paid
on,
for, pretty
you
much.
admire this, right? Like you admire the layout of it and the tacticalness of it, right?
Shit costs.
Would you drop 2,500 to be able to control FL the same way?
Hell no.
That you just proved it. You just proved it.
And next case. You know what I'm
Just rather
saying?
click it in. Nah.
How much was the push? 2K.
199.
Would you drop 2K for that little ass screen they got? You know what I'm saying? And
Fire. I ain't gonna disrespect that shit.
This
That shit hard as hell.
The fire.
that joint got
Oh, you talking about the push?
no XLR input, bro. Anyway, my
Yeah.
bad. Would you drop 2?
So I pretty much got what I paid for.
I mean,
Like,
nah.
It's all right. I'm switching on my interface and my device. Anyway.
Where you-
on
where you
y'all
gonna go?
niggas. I'm going to MPC. I've been wanting to go to MPC.
Damn, so you leave
I've gotten
FL?
better with my rhythm and shit and tapping and shit. Y'all saw me at the last podcast.
that's facts. We
Period.
did. Everybody saw you, fam. That's facts. Otaku Sauce says, damn.
Ew.
Not sure responding to what specifically. Maybe he's shouting out Kendrick Lamar, one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, that's a good album.
Hell yeah. But yeah, man. Kai, if y'all listening, please do that. Hit up my G's at Teletone.
Nah, Teletone's crazy.
Yeah, Teletone right now is, I feel the way I feel about Teletone, like when I discovered Trilogy, which turned into what, I
I
mean,
don't say
Yeah,
Keyscape.
Trillion.
Trillion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Also, when I discovered Contact Instruments, right? Versus like everybody was using, what was people using before Omnisphere? Nexus.
Nexus.
These kinds of like, we have every sound ever, like, you know, thing. And then I remember when Contact came out, and they had, you could get a piano that sounded like a real piano. You know what I'm saying? And I found myself so much more drawn to like dropping $300 on just an amazing piano
Yeah.
than $400 on 1,000 sounds, and I'm only going to use 3 of them.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
feel
saying?
that. I feel that.
And then those 3 just barely sound good enough. I still got to run it through a whole bunch of shit to make it sound
Yeah.
real.
Man, that's how I was getting with these subscriptions for real. Like I'm definitely at that space. Like, you know, I don't use this enough.
Yeah.
I'm paying monthly, and I'm like, I rarely use a third of these plugins.
That's facts. That's facts, bro. So hold on, really quick. What's a plugin? What's something you subscribe to that you unsubscribe to?
Apple Music.
Dang.
Man,
I,
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I unsubscribed to some shit and I fucked up. I unsubscribed to the entire joint. The I don't
you can't do that.
Yeah,
yeah.
And but I thought I didn't need it. I got UAD. I got I got the same one. It's the UAD version.
But you still, it's only. The
And I was like, so I don't need this shit. Like, why am I paying for all this? Like, and you know, you pay for the subscription, you get everything. You get auto key, you get all of that shit. And then some of them effects is fucking
It's fine,
crazy,
bro.
bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I unsubscribed to this.
I've never canceled a subscription,
They
but
cancel me, nigga.
I've never canceled, but I have like I think it was one of our like producer challenges or whatnot that we were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was recent or one of the couple years back ones or what, but I didn't have the whole program of FL. And it kind of forced me.
That's crazy. I couldn't.
Yes,
bro.
I still have my bootleg and my
Beat challenge
my bootleg version. It just like my shit just crashed on me. Like it just stopped working on me, and I was forced to have to buy the actual whole thing.
That's one thing I will buy outright now. Like I need whatever
Buy my
DAW
DAW.
I need that. Like
Except for Pro Tools.
Hey, yo, real quick, in the
Yeah, I'm
comments,
not
we
buying
got,
Pro Tools.
if I could, I would. On some
can
like,
now.
hey,
I
man,
think.
one more time, in the comments, show some respect to the comments. You know what I'm saying? Otaku Side says some stuff like that can pay for itself, but boy, a lot of subscriptions aren't worth it. He just said Adobe. He didn't even mention a specific Adobe joint, just the
whole
entirety
suite.
of
The whole
Adobe.
suite. Yeah, you pay for the whole suite.
It's kind of like Google.
Yeah. Bounce God, he said I unsubscribed from Slate Digital. That's oh yeah, that's real. We're hold on, is that the one with the NLS like kind of summing saturation plugin?
that's waves.
Waves.
Oh, that's wait. Oh, yeah, unsubscribe.
Slate got the They got the Slate got the Raven joint where they
Yeah.
screen joint and like the mic modeling plugins. And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Man, I think Waves is on the cutting block for me. Like I just realized it's only a few. Like I've kind of let my subscriptions die just so I can really like see what do I use on the regular, and it's maybe a good five to six plugins from Waves that I use. I'm like, bro, I
Dang,
don't-
Waves got a subscription joint? Like you can.
yeah, you can get the whole like the unlimited joint, and you get everything. But like, I don't use enough of it. I'm
It
at the
just be
point, I'm like,
$20. I
it
just buy what I need.
Yeah, it's just there.
If I need.
I'm like, I only use again like 5 or 6 plugins from them. And I'm like, okay, time to make some
You
adjustments.
gotta upgrade your computer.
Man, and then you got
Bro.
to upgrade it.
Bro, I hate that
Bounce
update.
God,
hate that
Otaku
shit.
says thought I could use InDesign for my magazine, and InDesign is Bounce God says I think I used Fresh Air. Yo, I used to use the hell out of that
Yeah,
Fresh
Fresh
Air.
Air
use
free
Fresh
though.
Air.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
used to
need
use the hell out of
Fresh Air is fire.
and that was free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fresh Air. That was
I
about
still
it.
use it.
Yeah, I am subscribed from the UAD Spark joint.
Mm.
Just because like I wanted access to like some of the like it's like all the UAD joints, you know what I'm saying? But I just found that like I was only using the joints that I already bought.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
so
funny.
it was like, you know, I don't know. It was just like, forget it. You know what I mean? Honorable mention, Splice.
Oh yeah,
You want to subscribe to some Splice?
yeah, it's a wrap on that. I've been
You took a stand.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was just
Fist in the air.
because, well, first of all,
You know what? I might need to do that, bro.
I wasn't.
you still
like,
subscribe to them joints?
Bro, I'm a hey, dog. hold on. I just want to say this, man. This is just, not only am I still subscribed to Splice, right? I have 2 subscriptions,
Bro, you
right? Now, shout out to it only being $8 a month. You know what I'm saying? But I have 2 subscriptions. I have one for the company, right? Just so people can get sounds for their, like, just being all the way real. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them early Sheena demos,
man.
the Nubia demos, it came from the company Splice account. Those sounds, you know what I'm saying? Just so that anybody can have access to some sounds when necessary. And then I have mine, right? Both of them are probably in the, like, 10,000 credits area.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, the only thing I use Splice for is, like, sound design for scoring. So I might like a car door closing, steps on some gravel, right? Like a bird, a hawk, like things like that. You know what I'm saying? I'll go to Splice for. I don't go to Splice for melodies, not even drums. You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm just like, yo, let me get a lead saxophone in the key of C sharp or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I might go to Splice, but I'm not. I use Splice like once every 3 months. And it's for 1 or 2 items. It's to the point now where, like, even when I audition sounds, I just get them because I don't even like.
Download.
Yeah. So I might. No, what I'm saying is I'd legit have like 20,000 credits on Splice. You know what I'm saying? I might just go through, find like the Ian Changs, the certain providers that I really rock with.
Get all
Just
them
go and
joints.
download everything they ever did,
in that.
put that in another folder, and be out.
Yeah, bro, like
Yeah, Splice be.
I just wasn't using enough new sounds. It's like, bruh, I have plenty of sounds to just still go through. Like, it just was like kind of wasteful to me. And on top, it made it easy because, like, I would have loved. I'm not the type of person that's just like, yo, I'm just gonna leave. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person. I'm a just in case type nigga. You know what I
You
mean?
really are, bro.
So my first thought isn't like, oh hell yeah, it's time to leave. That's not really how I move.
Yeah.
But I would love to like have just paused my shit. You know
Bro, that's what I hate about
do
this.
that.
It's a
but when
wrap.
you pause your subscription, you don't got access to the shit you already paid for.
Fact.
Which is fucking
So if
crazy.
you want to take advantage of all the credits you've used,
Yep.
you have to use it all at once, right then and there.
Fucking insane.
But if you stop paying in any way, either via cancellation or a pause, you don't have access to the platform for what you already paid for, and that's crazy.
Yeah, that's.
And it's like, all
But
right,
hold on, are you aware that you can move those sounds?
what do you mean?
Like if you download like a whole drum kit.
No, not the sounds.
The credits.
So like if
Yeah.
I pause, if I got 10,000 credits
Yeah.
and I pause my
You can't
subscription,
use them
I
credits.
can't use them.
Okay, yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been on their wave, but she really shout out to Mad. Shout out to Red Bull. I did a beat camp with them in Miami. That Mad passed me, and ever since then, my Spice been free.
Damn, are you good?
And if any nigga need free Spice, I use that shit. I use that shit every beat
You
for
with
sure.
it.
That shit auto load when I turn my computer on.
Part of the template.
Real partnership.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Facts.
You know what? That's the last question of the day. What auto loads when you turn your computer on? Because I definitely have like, nah, just go ahead and load that up, man. Like,
Yeah. Serato.
Dropbox, Lander, Splice, and then that was crazy.
Man,
Oh yeah, Pro Tools, not the Pro Tools, but the Avid giant.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's-
yeah.
I'm trying to turn as much shit off.
Oh yeah, same, bro. My computer can't handle that shit
I
either.
hate that shit, bro.
Yeah, yo, you good? You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be more straight if you turn that shit off.
Yeah, that should be stressing my computer out.
I ain't
I used to have University UAD
Fan start.
loaded. All that
Look, fan
honestly,
start
bro,
going like
the
I'm
number one thing I have load up as soon as I turn my computer on is ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT, man, all this stuff up here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Of course, GoPro. I mean, of course, Dropbox. Definitely not GoPro. In fact, let me turn this down. You know what I'm saying? My auto backup giant.
I wish
Basecamp.
ChatGPT didn't have a subscription.
What?
You wish they did
Why
or
is
didn't.
that?
Didn't.
They needed to get that Rabbit R1. That's a crazy. Anyway, we're gonna come back to that another time. But yeah. Nah, I mean, I have okay. I have NPC load up as soon as it turns on. As soon as I log into my account, it loads up automatically, and it loads up with my template.
I used to do that shit, and then my computer started getting stressed out.
At this end. Yeah.
Give it some
Chill out.
time.
It got to the point now. I'm definitely on a automatically load up a template when I fire up Ableton Live, but for a while I just went to the default junk because how quick that shit
slate?
was. How quick that shit was coming out. It was like, damn, I like this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just hit the search and get to it. But nah, I needed mine.
Otaku says if you need IT support, Unique has my info.
Definitely. He definitely fixed the shit out of my old laptops. I ain't lying. Broke them down, added new RAM and everything. He's definitely legit.
That's what's up, man.
Definitely.
Big shout out to Big L. He says, "Good afternoon, family."
Big dog.
Yeah,
What up,
what
family?
up, big dog? You just called me too. You know what I'm doing. Love you, big dog. I ain't getting now. You finna make it seem like it's some old shit. Whatever, bro. I ain't mean it like that, big dog. Don't let him get in the way or how we, you know what I'm saying, communicate.
Otaku says ChatGPT is useful, but people go overboard. It's great for sorting out ideas, though, for sure. He says calling you while live is nuts. Damn, bro.
Out of
He adding on to it.
what is real quick? What is to y'all? What is going overboard with ChatGPT?
He said, watch your mouth, son.
Great question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Great response.
Great one, right? You can't go wrong with that one.
What is going
Overboard.
overboard with ChatGPT?
Sex.
I had a whole conversation with ChatGPT the other day, and they told me I reached my limit.
It's datum.
It told me I reached my limit
Gender neutral.
because I wanted to know. What was I talking about? I forgot what I was talking about, but I was literally I was saying yes, okay, cool beans, and it was responding back to me in my own lingo. I was like, okay,
Chat said they
shit
done
scary.
talking to you.
Like, yeah, no, it really did. It was like, hey, you want to talk to me some more? You got to subscribe. I was like,
So
dang.
is that going overboard? Just getting to that wall and you got
Yeah.
That's overboard. You doing too much.
Let's stick to the question. What is going overboard on ChatGPT?
Nah, I don't.
Oh, really quick. Also, Gabby says Apple Music slick done once my employee joint ends. Damn.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey.
I know that's
let me stick
right.
to the question.
Yeah.
What is
What is going overboard with ChatGPT? First of all, does everybody in here use ChatGPT?
Yes, I do.
I do.
Yeah,
Faithfully.
I do.
Okay.
And I feel like I keep discovering new ways to
don't
make
know,
it
man.
beneficial to what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean?
I feel like
very
going.
Otaku says going overboard is having it do the entire task for you. So I'm curious about what that means because
Is it like
I've
having
never
a-
seen ChatGPT do the
Do the
entire
task.
task for anything. Right? It'll tell you what to do, and it might even script out how you do it. Right? But
Yeah. I guess
ChatGPT doesn't have APIs to do external tasks.
I guess with art though, if you like, maybe that's what he's talking about. Like if you're trying to do like a, so what you like a art piece or something, and you be like, I want something to look like this or whatever.
I did one time
Maybe.
ask it to change my own photo and create it to something different, and it told me that it couldn't do it.
Damn.
Is it like having a
Big
paper
L
ass?
says-
"Oh my god,
Is it like having to pay for ass? I'm assuming this is a
Ass.
response to
What
going
the
overboard.
I don't know what you talking about.
I'm not even sure.
This
Big
Big
shout out my man
dog.
Big L, don't you know?
we don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about, bro."
Ironically, what
You should have been. I was just gonna say that.
Before this,
You know, that
How did we
conversation.
end up back here? Gabby says, I'm probably about to downgrade my Adobe too. I got the whole suite, and all I use is Photoshop and Lightroom. That's facts. That's facts. I did that. I had a whole bunch of stuff in my eye to downgrade. Otaku says art or writing task or things like that. Yeah. LOL, pay for that was crazy. Wait a minute, Jesus. Jesus is not waiting.
What? Jesus, not waiting.
You needed a comment right there. Otherwise,
hilarious.
no, I'm playing.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know what's going overboard with ChatGPT.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Now, when it comes to the art, I can't think of.
Yeah, using it to generate images. I don't know. See,
I think ChatGPT is meant for you to go overboard, especially if you're paying for them to go overboard for you. Maybe teaching you how to be a serial killer.
That's a. Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I can say that. Now that's
Yeah.
that's wild.
let's say
Sandy Jackson.
ChatGPT it had an API and it could execute tasks.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say it could do that.
That's the R1.
Right. But why is that overboard, or is that overboard?
I don't think. So.
I don't.
I don't think so.
that's what I'm saying. I can't think of a situation
Yeah.
where you're going over.
Yeah.
Okay, then something just came to mind. So there are plenty of governments, especially state governments, use API to determine eligibility for healthcare benefits and such. And so, shout out to Kevin. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally fought the federal government on this. You know what I'm saying? Where like AI was just like saying, "Nah, you don't get benefits. You don't get benefits." It was just cut off like a third of people off of like Medicare and Medicaid. And people were like losing home, you know what I'm saying, SNAP benefits just off of, you know what I'm saying, and these are things that were normally determined, by people, and they determined that the sources were like wrongfully, like the data was just inaccurate, so all those things got reversed, overturned, and so something in that lane, right, where
I can see
it's,
that.
Like
it's
the government
like
was
where it's
going
determining
overboard.
decisions on the quality and amenities of other people's lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I would. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I would even make it a little bit more broader and say, using artificial intelligence to navigate the span of human existence in a way that it is not capable of yet. Like relying on it to do that. You know what I'm saying? I think. I still don't think, semantically, I don't think there's a such thing as going overboard. But I do think you can not understand its capabilities. You know what I'm saying? And then assign it too much responsibility. Yes, absolutely.
What y'all think? I got any examples of going overboard with ChatGPT? Because if not, we are leaving.
Rich Ugly Ray says, "Hi, bro. I'm from Russia, and if you talk to me, talk through a translator. Can you rate my beat?" And I think this has been another episode of Type Beat. My name is Hot Make.
That's it. Talk
Big
to the
shout out to Rich Ugly Ray.
Rich Ugly
Appreciate you
Ray.
chiming
Shout
in.
out.
We about to end up, so you know what I'm saying?
my God.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's all I can really say, man.
How do you talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Otaku says overboard may be using the wrong word. Using it as the last say so is risky. Absolutely. It still requires human discernment.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, yeah, absolutely. With that being said, there we go. Second time's a charm. Tupac. This has been another episode of Type Beat. My name is I Make Mad Beats. Some people call me Nemo. Some people call me Young Neem. And we are live from outer space, an unapologetic studio. And behind me is my cast.
LJ1S.
Unique, period.
C major.
Kid Maestro.
Why does nigga move like that?
And stay safe. Stay dangerous. Do both or do neither.
Bitch, are you jealous?
Oh shit. Here we go again.